If you're leading with a specific carrier just because they pay you the highest commissions that you can get your hands on, not only are you most likely neglecting to do what's best for your clients, but I'm betting that you're writing a carrier that doesn't even do true Social Security billing, which means your main leading final expense sales carrier product, the one that you write the most, is not even drafting the payment on the best day for the client. And therefore, you got sales falling off the books that would have stayed on had you written them with a better company. True Social Security billing is always at the top of my list. And most of the people that I write, most of the products that I'm selling, will draft the payment on the day the client receives their Social Security monies in the checking account. This is extremely crucial for final expense sales. Last year, we saw 2 carriers drop their final expense product completely. And part of the reason they failed was because they just didn't seem to get the importance of drafting the Social Security recipient's money payment, the monthly payment, on the exact day that Social Security deposited the money into their checking account. We also saw a few other carriers tighten up so much on their underwriting that their products became pretty much useless. Transamerica was the most recent company to alter their final expense product to the point where I went from basically leading with them to just taking them off of my cheat sheet and tossing them in the trunk of the car, never to be seen again. They do true Social Security billing though, not Transamerica, and they used to have some very lenient underwriting. Therefore, they will be missed. Thankfully, there's more than one way to skin a cat, guys. In this video, I'm going to share with you my 4 favorite final expense carriers of 2020 and why. Coming up next. The 3 things that I want from my main final expense carrier are 1. True Social Security billing, 2. Lenient underwriting, and 3. I want them to accept the Social Security Direct Express card. For those of you who are new to final expense sales, that Direct Express card is the form of payment that the low-income folks who are, basically incapable of maintaining a checking account have to use in order to receive their Social Security benefits. Look, this is really important if you're targeting super low income folks like I do, and that's basically who most of the people are that buy final expense life insurance. I'm Douglas Massi, and before we share with you my top 3 final expense carriers of 2020, no, we're making it the top 4. I'm going to ask that you give this video a big old thumbs up right now so that we know you're watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now, because we do put out a lot of new final expense sales training content on a regular basis, and we pretty much put something out every week. One more thing. If you guys will hang around all the way to the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the script that you can use to overcome objections while you're door knocking leads. This is exactly, pretty much what I say, verbatim, almost. No, that doesn't make sense. But it's basically what I say anytime somebody gives me some type of objection while I'm door knocking my final expense direct mail leads, Facebook leads, or even those, the telemarket leads, the final expense telemarket leads too. So let's start with number 4, which actually is a tie. Okay. Both of these carriers take Direct Express cards. They got true Social Security billing, and they've got some pretty lenient underwriting. Security National Life, which, I happen to have been their #1 agent 3 years in a row, and Trinity/Family Benefits, which is what they're called in some states. Sometimes it's Trinity, other times it's Family Benefits. It's a little confusing, but it's the same product, but with a different name based on the state that the product's in, I guess. Both carriers are totally doable for main carriers and will give you an instant approval. So, if your client is approved before you leave their house, even though these carriers can be used as primary products, both are actually perfect for, what I like to refer to as a secondary backup carrier. Number 3 on my list is American Amicable. Now, with their final expense product. They do not accept that Direct Express card that I mentioned a minute ago as a form of payment. They don't even want to talk to anybody that has that. As long as your secondary carrier takes Direct Express, this carrier can be used as a primary, and we've got agents that are using them as a main carrier all day long. American Amical drafts the payment better than pretty much any other carrier in the industry. I swear, man, it seems like they're taking the money minutes after Social Security deposit into the checking account. Therefore, we see some of the highest placement and persistency with this carrier. AmAm also has one of the simplest e-apps in the industry. Now, the cool thing is it gives you the approval right then and there, which is what we want when we're sitting with these folks. We want to know before we go. And they also give you the option to do a paper application with a phone interview, or you can just skip the phone interview if you need to, or you decide for sure it's going to come out the way you think it is, and they'll actually do the underwriting without it. Not something that I suggest unless you're a super talented agent at underwriting. It's important to know before you go as far as I'm concerned, especially if you're kind of new at this. Unless you don't mind having to go back to the client in the event that, you try to get them level and then it comes back offering graded and now you got to go back to the client and resell them. And if you're okay with going back and forth, hey, you don't need to do the phone interview. The main reasons that I place them at number 3 is because their underwriting is a little stricter than any of the other carriers on my top 4 list. But again, I believe that they've got a super killer product because they're so good at drafting the payment. I mean, better than anyone, which helps to keep the clients on the books longer. So your give and take is, do I want a carrier that takes Direct Express cards and is super easy on the underwriting? Or do I want a carrier that, like AmAm, maybe a little stricter on the underwriting, but once they do approve the client, they're going to keep these folks paying and on the books better than anyone, which means more renewal monies for a longer period of time. American Amical also has a very good term and universal life product for different life insurance goals that you may need. And the cool thing is with these products, most of them, you can basically insure anyone from 0 years old to 85 years old. They got some really cool living benefits with these products too, which in my opinion earns them a spot in my top 3 companies. My number 2 favorite carrier of 2020 is Royal Neighbors of America. Now, they do not take the Direct Express card, but they do have some of the easiest underwriting on the planet. They don't even have a build chart. They don't care about the height or the weight. So let's say you got an insulin diabetic who has neuropathy, who happens to be, 4 foot tall and weighs in at 1,100 pounds. You can still give them first day coverage. How about that? They do true Social Security billing, have an awesome e-app, and they do give you a paper application option with that phone interview, so you always know before you go. Both the paper app with the phone interview and the electronic application, like I said, they let you know if your client's approved as applied for while you're still sitting down with the client. So again, you know before you go. They've got multiple products, including a really good term product and an underwritten whole life product that will actually insure up to $5 million. Is that right? Yeah, that's crazy. It depends on the age of the client. It's a fully underwritten thing, but hey, you've got the product for the person depending on the needs. And finally, folks, my number 1 favorite final expense product for 2020 is the Prosperity New Vista. This bad boy has really easy underwriting, maybe even better than Royal Neighbors. They take the Direct Express cards, they do true Social Security billing, so they always draft when they're supposed to, and they have the easiest electronic application in the industry, period. It has 3 options, level, graded, and modified, and unlike any of the other products that I mentioned earlier, does not give a commission cut in the event where you have to give the client anything other than a level. So if your commission level, let's say it's 110% for the level option, you're also going to get 110% for the graded option and 110% for the modified option. They insure people between the ages of 50 and 80 years old and will sell face amounts as little as $1,500 and up to $35,000. Now, check this out. With all those other carriers on my list, and pretty much all carriers do this, that top commission is all based on the age of your client too. So your commission level gets cut down if the client is too old with most products on the market. Prosperity is the only product on my list that pays the same for the final expense products, no matter how old the client is. Doesn't matter about age, doesn't matter if it's level, doesn't matter if it's modified or graded. It's going to pay you the exact same amount every time. One more thing. Prosperity has a neat little term to 100-year-old product, term to 100 product that can be used in the place of some guaranteed issue products due to the competitive rates and due to them only having like 3 knockout questions. And unlike most guaranteed issue products, it will actually insure people as young as 40 years old, and interesting enough, it pays a bit better than most of the guaranteed issue products that are on the market. It has a 3-year graded option, so I don't suggest using it for all your guaranteed issue scenarios. I won't. But it is a nice little product to have in your bag. We offer some of the highest commissions available for all the mentioned products, including that Prosperity New Vista. So email me if you'd like more information. And for a copy of the script that I mentioned earlier, the one that we use to overcome objections while door knocking leads, just shoot me an email at doug@ufesonline.com. And if you'd like some information on joining our final expense sales team, which absolutely includes first-year commissions between 100% and 120%, affordable fixed price leads, and access to Moy as your personal final expense trainer, just shoot me an email at that same address. Remember, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get your butt out there and do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.